planning. So let's start from the top. Quite recently, I saw this data from EPF stating that 78% of Malaysians cannot retire comfortably. And what's even more scarier, 50% of people which will finish their EPF money within the first 5 years of their retirement. That's really, really scary. So, I mean, initially when I first saw that data, to be very honest, I was very skeptical. I could not allow myself to believe that 80% of people would probably retire uncomfortably, right? And for me, that basically means not enough money lah, basically, right? But more and more, I'm seeing this data whereby if we were to look around us, inflation is getting more and more it's getting more and more higher lah, basically, right? We could see that the prices of chicken, fish, vegetables, all of it is getting expensive. And what this basically means is that whatever we saved up, right, will shrink in value as time passes on. So whatever we saved will probably not be worth much moving forward, firstly. Secondly, what I see is right now with the government allowing people to do an early withdrawal, to do an account 3, right? I can see that people are opting to take out money from account 2 to fund their account 3. If they do that, right, what will happen is that upon retirement in the future, they will have less money in their EPF. And when they have less money in their EPF, basically once they reach at the age of 55 or 60, right, when they are not earning any money, basically the EPF money is the only source of income, right? Well, they get only one time, and once they finish that money, it's gone already. So that's actually a very worrying statistic, right? So I guess in this episode, I'm going to share with you some of the things which I gathered while teaching my students, while talking to retirees, and also me being a retiree myself at one time. As some of you may know, I actually retired at the age of 30. Late 30s lah. I wanted to be financially free lah, get out from the rat race lah for a while. So I managed to do that for a couple of years, right? So anyway, these are the top 3 biggest mistakes I see when people actually, head towards retirement, right? Or while making their retirement plan. Mistake number 1, guys, this is so important, is I noticed that people tend to overspend even during their working years. So let me explain. Right now, I can see that some people, they have this habit, right? If they earn 5,000, they have to spend all 5,000, right? Or if they earn 5,000, they have to spend 5,500, right? And if you're asking yourself, how is that even possible? For every 1 ringgit we make, we spend 1 ringgit and 10 cents. Well, right now with easy credit and credit card, it's so easy to take a loan, honestly, right? And let me give you a couple of examples, right? If not, this would be a very abstract point, right? So during Hari Raya this year, I noticed while going back to the kampung, right? I noticed that when I went to social media, there's a joke going on right now. This is Hari Raya yang paling terpokai lah, basically, where people are just making fun lah right now. This year, this Hari Raya, so hard to save money. In fact, we're just spending and spending and spending money, right? Anyway, what I realized is that number 1, right? This has been happening so often that it's second nature lah, right? Whereby I see certain families, right, they have to color code themselves, right? This year is blue, next year is pink, the following year is purple, right? Every year they have to color code themselves, and every year they have different baju Melayus or baju raya lah, right? First day is a certain color, second day is a certain color, right? So for me, I mean, this is me personally, when I was growing up, I still remember, we weren't, I guess my mom and dad, right, we would buy one baju and we would wear it for maybe 5 or 6 years. And the whole thing of it all is that we truly believe that, we use something until it's totally worn out lah, basically, right? And I still remember every time when we balik kampung or when we go and visit our relatives back in the village, right, or back in Kedah lah, we will wear different colors lah. I'll wear, I think my baju Melayu back then was peach color. My dad used to wear purple. My mom used to wear, I think, red or something. But you know, we all when balik kampung with different colors. But the whole thing of it all is this, right? You know, we have to look at the functionality of the things that we buy, right? And I still remember my dad telling me, he says, as long as you can use it, continue using it, right? Right now, I noticed that a lot of people, what they want to do is every year, different baju. First day, second day, first day, second day. And honestly, looking at certain clothing, right? It will go between 300 ringgit to maybe 1,000 ringgit, right? And if families were to color code themselves, just the clothes itself will probably cost 2 or 3 thousand easily, right? So number one, as I was saying, overspending. I think it's becoming more and more common, lah, right? Second thing I noticed is that right now it's very easy to buy things, right? And let me explain over here, right? So back in the day when I was growing up, say it's a Saturday, right? And we were having our breakfast and we noticed, oh, we don't have any milk. So back then, it was so difficult, right? We have to get in the car, we have to, you know, drive to the nearest supermarket, and then we have to park, and then after that, we have to, you know, go to the cashier, pay and everything. It was such a cumbersome process, right? That being said, today, it is so much easier to buy things. We can actually go on our laptops, we can just click a couple of buttons, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and we can buy things, right? So we can see that there are two things happening right now. Number one, we can see that there is easy credit. Number two, we can see that it's easy shopping. To get anything is so easier, so much more easier than before. And the third thing is that, you know, it fuels consumerism, lah, basically, right? And that's one of the reasons why people, you know, there's a propensity to spend, right? Every time we get a bonus, we just want to spend. Every time we get our salary, we just want to spend, right? So I think over here, let me just show you this particular slide. Let me just scoot over here, right? Okay. I think we can see over here, right? The impact of spending lah, right, amongst us Malaysians lah. So over here we can see that EPF has estimated that 90% of its members have some form of loans, whereby during the person's 20s, right, you can see that you know, this is quite common lah, having a study loan, right? On top of that, I think one of the biggest loans is their first car, right? This is very expensive, especially for a young grad, right? That being said, once a person actually earns a little bit more money, this is where he buys his first house, right? And once he buys his first house, we could see that this is one of his biggest expenditure lah. During the age of 40 to 50, we can see that maybe this is where he buys maybe 2 or 3 cars lah, you know, for his kids and also for his wife lah. So we can also see that not only he has his housing loans, but he also has his car loans. And the scariest part, right, is over here. When a person turns between 50 to 60, he still have loans. And this is a part when most people will retire. And once they retire, they pay off all their loans. There's nothing much left for them upon retirement. So that's mistake number one. Let me just put it back, right? I think mistake number two, right? Is this particular mistake lah, right? I see this very common, especially when going for conferences, talking to retirees or people that are going to retire. Oh, it pains me so much, right, to actually you know, work on their retirement plan and noting that, you know, they maybe have 3 or 4 years prior for their retirement. So they either plan their retirement too late or they don't plan their retirement at all. The only time they want to plan the retirement is by seeing me lah, right? And then after that, they talk to someone which has been in the financial industry for maybe 10 or 15 years, right? And then, you know, they have 3 more years for retirement, and then that's when they're going to plan the retirement. I feel it's a bit too late lah, and that's one of the reasons why I created this video, right? I think there's this old saying that goes, if we fail to plan, we plan to fail. Let me repeat that again. If we fail to plan, we plan to fail. So basically, if we do not make any plans for retirement, right, the day of our retirement will definitely come, maybe 5, 10, 15 years from now, right? But, you know, what will allow us to be prepared for retirement or to be prepared for retirement is to plan way in advance, right? And for your benefit right now, right, those that are watching right now, if you have any questions, please do ask lah. I actually shared this particular retirement plan with some of the attendees which came for my seminar, right? And we could see over here, right? Let me just share this with you. If you plan to retire between by 20 years, right? And you plan to maybe keep aside 200K aside from your EPF money, right? Say assuming if you start from today, so 200K, right? You divide it by 20 years, it's 10,000 per year. And 10,000 per year, you divide it by 12 months, is about 833 per month. But if you divide it by 30 days, it's only 27 ringgit per day. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that if you put aside about 20 to 30 ringgit in your piggy bank, right? Or specifically 27 ringgit, right? You will get 200K in 20 years. That's the power of small habit. Let me show you another slide. Okay, let me just have to zoom out a bit, right? If you decide to save and invest from today onwards, if you decide to maybe put aside 20 ringgit per day, and if you want to save and invest for 20 years, you invest it in a stock, all right? This is a very basic conservative return, 8%. I'm sure it's relatively easy to find, right? Your returns, right, by just putting aside 20 ringgit per day, doing it for 20 years, putting in an asset that gives about 8%, your returns would be close to 500,000, specifically 457,000. And we could see that I'm sure, and many of you, especially those that are watching a lot of finance videos, I'm sure you have seen this particular chart before, the red chart, right? This is the power of compounding interest. As time goes on, this stick will become more and more steeper, right? And if your returns actually compounds faster or more regular, you can see this stick going higher and higher, right? Let me just go back. Sorry for going back and forth. So basically, yeah, if you have not thought of your retirement, I just shared with you a very basic retirement plan, right? If you just want to put money in the bank, you just don't want to think about retirement, right? You just tell yourself, you know what? I just want to get 200K in 20 years. I already shared with you the plan, right? And always remember, right? Have a goal, have a vision, right? And how do you even set goals, right? Follow this particular framework, SMART. S being specific, M being measurable, right? So you need to know specifically when you want to retire. Say you want to retire in 20 years, right? M, measurable. Okay, I want to put 200,000 in my retirement fund, right? Where I want to save. SMAR, A, what action plan you want to take. So the action plan which I gave you, put aside 27 ringgit per day. From today onwards, 20 years, you get that money. R, it needs to be realistic, lah, right? Your goals, right? You cannot tell yourself like, oh, I want to have 1 trillion or whatever, right? I mean, it must be a realistic goal, lah, right? And then you work on it. And T, it needs to have a particular timeline. A goal without a timeline is basically a dream, lah. You say, oh, one of these days I'm going to do this. One of these days I'm going to do that. As many of you guys know, lah, one of these days would be never, lah, basically, right? So I think that's number 2. Have a plan. This is so important, right? The third mistakes which I see many retirees do, right, is they don't take into consideration inflation, right? I'll give you a very simple example, right? During the 1990s, right, houses in Taman Tun, right? Taman Tun is a housing area somewhere in Klang Valley. It used to cost about 300,000, 300,000. Today, however, the same house in Taman Tun will cost about 1.5 million ringgit, right? Another example over here is nasi campur. Back in the early 2000s, right, nasi campur used to cost between 3 to 4 ringgit sahaja tau. Today, however, it will be 12 to 15 ringgit. Very, very expensive, right? So I think long story short, what I'm trying to say is 100,000 maybe 20 or 30 years ago, right, will bring you a very long way. But that same 100,000 in maybe 10 or 20 years down the road will be worth less. Why? You can buy less stuff, right? So long story short, right, when and if you want to plan for your retirement, always put an extra amount. Don't say like, okay lah, 200,000 is quite a lot of money, right? So I said, okay, I can retire with that money. No, you have to remember that in 20 to 30 years, right, that money will shrink in value, right? So I think long story short, what I'm trying to say lah, these are the three most common mistakes, right? I know it's a relatively scary goal to set, right? And I notice this happening over and over again. When the goal is too scary, people just don't think about it, and then they just say, "Oh, I'll just go with the flow." By the time they look at it, right, it's 3 to 4 years before they retire, which is, I feel, a bit too late lah. And I can see the regret in many of my participants' eyes lah. So I don't want that to happen to any of you guys, right? So that's one of the reasons why I actually have this particular smaller episode, right? And just break down how to actually set goals for your retirement plan, right? And the basically what I'm trying to say lah is this, right? Have a basic goal. Today, if you have time, right now, if you have time, write down what do you need for you to retire. Write it down on a piece of paper. And then ask yourself, by when do you want to retire, right? And then after that, you break it down into small, doable pieces. And after you have broken it down into small, doable pieces, take the action. So if there's any questions, please do write it down in our comment section. If not, please do write down questions in the comment section for those that's going to watch it in the future. I'm sorry about I'm sure some of you guys can hear the cat once I get in the room. It's a weekend, so cats are moving around, and even the young ones are walking back and forth. If there's any questions, please do ask. Alrighty. Oh, hey bro, smart. Yeah, bro, smart goal. Sorry. I just managed to find out. I just put on the live chat. Faisal, if 50 years about retire to 10 years, what's your advice? 50 years. Okay, right now, Maybank actually has this particular feature tau. If you look at your May, right, you notice that they can actually help you plan your goals, right? And quite honestly lah, right, if you're asking me lah, what I'm doing right now, right, I'll tell you, quite honestly, I realized that investing, quite honestly, last time when I started investing, maybe 20 years ago lah, I could invest in ASB, and they used to give me about 15% per year. And I think that's the secret of me retiring lah, because ASB used to pay quite high tau. Right now, however, ASB pays about 5%, right? So I don't know whether it's beating inflation lah. So right now, what I'm personally doing is working on small little side hustles lah, right? So I asked myself, what's my passion? So my passion is talking, right? So I like to talk. My second passion is I like finance. So that's one of the reasons why I have a financial channel, financial channel on YouTube, on social media, right? And the amazing part about this is that I met, after maybe my first few videos, right, I wasn't sure what I was doing. But eventually what happened was, after doing content, I actually got a job offer to be a content creator. And on top of that, some small companies, they say, oh, I'll pay you 200 ringgit to create content for me and whatnot. Long story short, what I'm trying to say is have a side hustle, right? And if you're thinking what side hustle you can start, ask yourself what you like to do, right? And then after that, from there, you just go to Google. It says, how do I monetize your particular skill, right? Because honestly, kalau letak duit dalam ASB and tabung haji, oh man, the returns are too low lah. I don't know whether it's beating inflation. So that's why even me also, I'm just creating videos on the internet lah, as a small little side hustle. I hope that helps. Oh, another thing which I just remembered, maybe look towards Bank Rakyat. If you notice, Bank Rakyat gives about dividends of about 15%. No? So 15%, yeah, it's quite high. So, but to get a Bank Rakyat share is quite challenging lah. Because every time when they buka kan, straight away within maybe 1 or 2 hours sold out. Then after that they buka, then it's sold out. So that's another advice from me. The third thing is maybe go the old-fashioned way lah, like our parents' time lah. They probably bought houses, and then after that they'll get rental income from the house, right? And then after that, that's very popular lah. So these are my 3 ways lah. Any other questions? Hey, thank you, Faisal. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the question. I hope I answered it. But yeah, I mean, if you do have any questions later, right, you put it down in the comment section. I will definitely answer it. Okay, guys, with that, I think it's still Hari Raya, right? I think it's the tail end towards Hari Raya. So I want to wish everyone Selamat Hari Raya. And thank you so very much for the questions. And thank you so much for the likes. Thank you so very much. And I hope to see you guys in the upcoming episode. And thank you, Faisal. You have any questions for Bank Rakyat? You have to. Oh, yeah, you have to queue for Bank Rakyat. Bank Rakyat memang susah. It's very susah. How I got my share, right, was I got a friend working in Bank Rakyat. So he will get the Bank Rakyat share for RM1 lah, assuming. So he'll sell it to me for RM1.10 or whatever. He'll make a profit and then he sell it to me for a higher price lah. So last time Bank Rakyat was paying 15%, right? So I think I bought it about 5 or 10 years ago. Hey, you're most welcome. So anyway, my main topics are retirement, my main topics are shares, and my main topics are the economy today lah. So do consider subscribe. Like I said, Faisal, watch my older videos. If you have any questions, please do ask. And then after that, I'll create a video from your questions lah. Okay, with that, guys, take care. Selamat Raya. I don't know whether it's still Shawwal lah, but yeah. Okay, guys, take care.